Alrighty, Roo. Well, hello and good afternoon, everyone. This is ZeldaSpeedRuns 2, and we are bringing you guys Majora's Mask Glitchless, all dungeon. Well, not glitchless, sorry. Majora's Mask, all dungeons, no SRM, and I'm joined by Adruk and Santa. Let you guys introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Santa?
Oh, yeah. So, I'm Sam's little Nibboyer. I run OT, Omega Wall. And, yeah, this is MM, all dungeons, no SRM. So, the point of this category is to beat all the dungeons without the use of stale reference manipulation. This is one of 3 variations of the category, at least on the main boards, which is all dungeons SRM and all dungeons restricted. So all dungeons restricted is an older route of this category, and it has more restrictions. And all dungeons SRM is it lets you do everything except for arbitrary code execution, aka breaking the game to the point where you can write your own code. So yeah, the point of that category is just to beat all the dungeons. And yeah. And for this one, we do it as intended, Kipo. Adruk, introduce yourself.
I'm Adruk, just a moderator of the server for MM speedrunning, and a runner in general. I've got an okay time in this route. I won't say what it is, or category I should say. But let's just say at least one of these runners is a lot faster than I am. Hopefully he uses a better route. Oh, he even went old school with any percent. Alrighty, that's good. Let's see here. Yeah. Alright, we got a timer going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh wait, it's not going to be live on stream, is it?
There it is.
Okay. I'll restart the countdown, I guess. Unless it's not official. Well... Yep. Awesome,
There we go.
In that case, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1,
go.
So,
Right.
to start the run, we have first cycle. So, first cycle, aka endless cutscene hell, is is basically a. Yeah, how about you explain it?
Alright, so unfortunately, throughout the many years that Majora's Mask has been released, 20 years now, and counting, 21 soon, we have not found a first cycle skip. Doesn't matter what category, doesn't matter what's allowed, even in the context of a category that allows arbitrary code execution, we still can't skip first cycle. Well, first cycle in particular is from starting point of the game up until after you get Deku Mask, you leave the clock tower, and you have a little bit of text from Tattle. Once you get to that point, you're outside of first cycle. You're free. It is probably the dullest introduction to any speedrunning game, but once we get through that, it's gonna be worth it. We're gonna see a lot of tricks. We're gonna see a lot of the game. Content will be skipped, but not too much, if that makes sense. We've been working at it, but I haven't found anything yet. Gave it a couple good tries. We've been trying to, let's see. I've been looking into various forms of GIM and GID for Deku, neither of which seem to exist, and I'm sure if they did, we would have found them long ago. A couple people are saying that in order to skip this segment, the only way to do that is going to be to delve into new territory that has never been explored before. Unfortunately, we haven't really found what that territory of glitches would be, so here we are. At this point, we're just going through the very first part of the narration. Of course, you got Skull Kid. He knocks Link off Epona. And he's gonna steal our ocarina. And that is one of the very defining moments of what makes first cycle. The game actually checks your ocarina slot in the inventory to tell if you're in what is considered a first cycle state. And what that first cycle state is that the game's internal clock is actually sped up while you're in first cycle. That way, first cycle doesn't take as long. Even the devs knew, not everybody wants to be stuck going around clock town for the entirety of the 3 days. So they sped up the clock, and that's one of the few things going for us, if it would not be for ways to skip time. We'll be getting to that very soon. I'm sure a lot of you have seen how to do the skips for in-game time. They're pretty simple. Nothing too groundbreaking. You got any questions, Nibbler?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Alright. Like I said, once we leave the clock tower, things are going to pick up real quick, depending on the route that people use. Now, any percent, no SRM, all dungeons, whatever you call this category, all dungeons, no SRM for TrulyNaN. The route can be very flexible. We cover a lot of the game, and because of that, we can introduce as many glitches as you want, basically. Except for the duration that is first cycle, unfortunately.
By the way, Turkenheimer said he's having some internet issues. So if there's any frame drops, like I saw one there, that's probably why.
He is on N64. It's all good.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna be behind. The unfortunate issue with Majora's Mask on N64 compared to Ocarina of Time of many, in particular, there is the lack of cardinal directions on the control stick. You cannot go run in a straight line forward. You cannot easily backwalk. It can be very frustrating for finding very tight setups or setups that require a degree of accuracy. And that includes SRM. If this was... Well, the irony there is that Ace, the any percent trick, quote-unquote, arbitrary code execution that allows you to credit warp, can only be done on Nintendo 64. So we had to find, or not me, but those people who were looking for setups had to keep in mind that you can't rely on cardinals, left, right, up, and down. You specifically have to use other ways and other means to manipulate Link's angle in particular, whether it's damage through a bomb or side hopping, I think is another method that they use. Putting a Deku mask on, I don't know if that's used explicitly in any percent. But yeah, you have to be very careful with what you do.
Yeah.
This
is also my favorite Switch game, Kappa.
You can't say that yet. It hasn't been released as far as I know.
Look at the console next to the year.
Which year? What are we looking at?
It says it's on the Switch. Also, it still says glitchless.
Is this?
Oh wait, no, it doesn't. Okay. Wait, it's fixed.
I'm seeing the. Oh, I guess I should have that up itself.
Okay, cool. Now it's fixed.
Ooh. Yep. It's all correct now. We're all good. We're not running glitchless here. If we were running glitchless, it would take about twice as long.
Yeah, thanks, Warner.
Appreciate it. And there would be some differences in first cycle. It'd be a lot less interesting. One of the things that makes glitched routes more interesting than your average, I should say, glitchless introduction, is the ability to leave Clocktown. We call that an escape of sorts. So similar to Ocarina of Time, you got your Mido escape, or what is it called? That's something else.
Escape.
Pokey escape. Thank you. Yeah. So in this game, we have the guard skip, I guess you could call it, that allows you to go directly to Termina Field from East Clocktown, and normally you will collect 90 rupees, 70 rupees, 50 rupees, largely depending on what route and what tricks you use, what you need to buy, etc., etc. Glitchless, for example, they don't even use the bank. They skip the bank entirely and they just buy the bomb bag as Deku before they move on to anything else.
Glitchless one step ahead.
I
So-
should have been paying attention. It looks like we had one or maybe two title skips, and that's where you enter the flower to completely skip that little bit of title text that the title is describing, the little Deku guy on the other side, I think it is.
Yeah. So coming up, we have Happy Mask Salesman skip. So pretty much for the cutscene to play, it needs to like advance 2 frames in a row. So what was discovered is that if you buffer, pause buffering is something that like takes advantage of like the lag in the game, and we can like pause like repeatedly to advance frames in the game. So by advancing 1 frame at a time, we skip advancing 2 frames, and then we skip the cutscene entirely, and all 3 runners got it.
Yep. It can be a little annoying sometimes, especially on N64. If you go back to the left or back to the right a little bit because of the controller jank, then you could be a little off and you can get what we call door trolled. And that is when the door just refuses to open. I think it's a matter of opening only one door and then you get in the way of the other door, so then you have to start opening both doors at different times, and then it's all offset and everything, and then you're sad usually. At this point we got it down to normally it will only take 10 buffers depending on when you start buffering, and then you'll be clear. We used to do what would basically amount to YOLO attempts early on. Thankfully we're no longer at that point.
Nice.
So here's one of those. Go on.
Oh yeah, so Lunar, that's pretty much what's happening. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
So this is one of those in-game time skips. You can see Celestial, I believe it is. Yeah, Celestial. He is talking to the grandmother, and he's going to do that twice in a row. Now he's specifically choosing the day-long story is basically what it is. Link sleeps the entire day away, twice in a row. What a slug.
So going back to like the console differences. So unlike OOT, the only thing that has an advantage is arbitrary code execution, as far as I know, on N64. VC has significantly better performance as for like lag and stuff.
And looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as Majora's Mask, when it comes to version differences or console differences, I shouldn't say version differences. Console differences, there just aren't many. Compared to Ocarina of Time, I think there are, maybe, because specifically you only have 1.2 on Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. OOT has like blank A choose, which is a 1.0 only exclusive trick. Just like blank A in general, but we can get bomb choose earlier with that. And then on top of that, there's like Bongo quick kill, which is like he has a hitbox before the fight starts. If you drop a bomb, you can like stun him early and skip the cutscene. And on 1.0 and 1.1, you could use collection delay to get the eyeball frog early by just holding R when you talk to King Zora.
For those who aren't familiar with the route, after you talk to the grandmother, you talk with the scarecrow, you do a little dance that lasts for 12 hours pretty much. And then we have to wait another 12 in-game time hours before the clock tower opens. This is unfortunately time that we have to waste, but we do waste it in any percent. Or all dungeons, no SRM, specifically by going in the Termita field and collecting rupees from the grass. This is technically RNG dependent. Depending on the route, you can go for anywhere between 50 and 90 rupees. I'm going to say that they probably are going to want 60 rupees at the very least. Or is it 60 rupees minimum? We'll get to why that matters soon if one of them only gets so many.
Yo, what's up, Keiko? I don't know.
That's a good question. Probably Celestial. I had to guess. And what Kiko's asking for, if there's anybody doing the Snowhead Hess, that is a Hess where You either start at the fairy fountain like usual, or you start the whole way down at the owl in Snowhead right before you get to the dungeon, and you do a Hess the entire way up. You got to be very careful the snowballs not knocking you off, and if you're starting from the Hess from the owl, you have to be careful that the ramp doesn't completely screw you over, pretty much. If I had to guess, he's probably just going to do it from the fairy fountain. That's the safe way to do it for a race setting, but it is Celestial. He is one of our higher level runners, I would say. It's definitely not friendly. I haven't done it yet. I keep post-mining learning it. I don't look forward to ever actually getting it. We're about, I would say, a little over halfway through. We're getting our magic that's necessary. There is a benefit to Termina Field, as in, if you were to go directly to North Clocktown from either South Clocktown or East Clocktown, you would get a cutscene in North Clocktown, just like you would in both East Clocktown and West Clocktown. You might have seen earlier. By going around and entering through Termina Field, we completely skip that introductory to the area cutscene, and it's a very minor skip, but a skip nonetheless. So cool, if you're not aware. Alright, looks like Truly has 81 rupees. Or no, that's Turken. 81 rupees, Truly is 76. Celestial went overboard and got 95. Nice. It looks like Truly is probably going to have to do something called Speedrunner's Discount when we get to the bomb shop in second cycle. That is a glitch where you go up to the bomb counter, you rhythmically or mash, I prefer rhythmically, time the A button, and what you do is, after you buy the first set of chews, to buy a second set of chews, that's going to be 40 rupees each, and you get 10 chews for whatever that's worth. You buy, if you only have 70 some rupees or 69 rupees, I think it works with, maybe 68 or 67. What happens is you buy the first set of chews, and that starts decrementing your rupee counter. It doesn't do it in a single frame though, which means that if you have more than 40 rupees in your counter, by the time you hit the yes on whether or not you want to buy chews again, then you get what we call Speedrunner's Discount, or 2 for 1. And it will let you buy that second set of chews for 40 rupees, even though technically you would only have like 20 some or 30 some rupees in your account. So that's a neat little trick. As long as you can mash, you should be able to do it. You want to talk about gainers, like what Truly just did?
Yeah, so a gainer is basically getting forward momentum by like, it's like when if you like on the first turn of the backflip, if you hold up and retarget, like target a wall, it's not specific targeting a wall, but you'll like do a backflip in place, and it, English, in MM you're able to grab ledges with it, so we could skip the business scrub.
Yeah, so in Ocarina of Time, you have the ground jumps, and they're pretty useful. They're the ones where the ooh, heard some cheering. You can describe a ground jump if you want.
These comms need coffee. Yes.
I just had some. So, ground jump. Basically, what you do is you roll into a bomb while shielding, and it puts you in a weird state. You're kind of stuck in place until you release shield, and then you pick the bomb. Or you let the bomb explode, and then it blows up while you're trying to pick it up. That's going to store what we call, what is it, pickup on the A button, I think it is? Or something. And what you can do if you backflip or do any number of other things, then you'll do ground jump is what we call it. You kind of get a little boost in height after you do a little jump and be able to grab ledges from there. In Majora's Mask, they're completely useless because of our gainers. We're able to grab ledges out of our backflip, so we can generally reach a higher height, I think it is, or maybe it's the same height. We don't really have a use for ground jumps. The only reason they exist in Majora's Mask is to annoy speedrunners who want to do super slides, and they roll into the bomb too early, and then they're sad because they have a ground jump instead of a super slide. That's their best use.
So many years ago, I tried speedrunning this game, Hundo Glitchless and Inside Gainers. I did a weird backflip. Oh yeah, that was what's his name? That's what Mr. Grunts would use, like back when he got like his 124.
Yeah.
So that was like the older method of business. Scrub skip.
The twisted backflip, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Or the C-up? Okay, yeah. There are a couple different ways to do them, but this would be the fastest way, I guess. Or generally considered. And gainers are versatile because you can grab just about, not all ledges, but most ledges in the game. Then you'll see them in East Clocktown a lot, or sometimes in Ikana Castle in speedruns if you ever go there. Especially as Zora, because he's got the extra height. If you're Goron, though, he's like Ocarina of Time Link. He can't grab ledges from a backflip, or any ledges, period. He's a strong boy, but he can't climb. Alright, now most runners are going to reset after this cutscene. If you look at Celestial, he's going to save, and upon hitting yes for the save text that's about to pop up, he displayed the Song of Time. He's going to go black, just like that. In Ocarina of Time, we don't really have that pause saving thing that Ocarina of Time has. It's technically in the code, and you can get it up with, I think, Ace or something, or just cheats in general. Otherwise, it just, as far as runners are concerned, it may as well not exist. So it saves as soon as you hit yes, so you can restart right after that. And wow, Celestial and Turk are like neck and neck right now.
So you may have seen like a difference between like Celestial and Celestial Nans and then Turkenheimers. So since they're on VC, the like you will need a classic controller screen appears, and that's like the difference. It's just in Japanese. So N64 doesn't actually have that. So that saves a little bit of time.
The VC, the Virtual Console on the Wii, it takes into account that most Nintendo 64 games, from what I hear, they don't have that Nintendo 64 logo that you'll see in both Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask if you first start the game up. And because of that, we get two of them on top of the classic controller screen. So you had the classic controller screen, the Wii VC Nintendo 64 logo screen, and then you had the N64 logo screen. It's a lot of restart introductory stuff. Every reset. And I just noticed all three runners, I believe, are on Japanese, which means that we will not be seeing the owl Hess that Kiko was talking about earlier. I wasn't even thinking about how it was English only. It has something to do with ledges, and basically, when you do a Japanese Hess, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically it's similar to a super slide where you go backwards with a lot of speed while holding a certain control stick position.
Yeah, so there's basically a position on the controller called Extended Super Slide Position, or ESS. And pretty much what it is when you hold the absolute bare minimum on the control stick that the game registers as an input.
That's for Ocarina of Time. Majora's Mask, it's like further out for whatever reason they changed it.
Yeah. So basically, Link does a shuffling animation, and where the sliding part comes in, well, he's already kind of like sliding, but if you get damaged, so if you just like get damaged in that state, then he'll start doing a forward extended super slide. And the thing is with Hessing is that Hessing is like shielding damage on the correct frame, and then like if you
this is Ocarina of Time. I'm sorry, I should have. Yeah, so Hessing is different from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. So in Ocarina of Time, you have to shield and target at the exact same time for whatever reason. I don't know why. Majora's Mask, it's completely different. I consider it a lot easier. All you gotta do is hold your ESS position. You gotta get damaged on the right frame while you have invincibility, and then you target anytime. You don't have to shield at all. The invincibility frames take care of that part. So, on English, if you were to do that, and you got caught on a ledge because the wind is blowing you during this, what we call Owl Hess and Snowhead, because you have ISG, it won't push you off. ISG being infinite sword glitch, and if you try to go to a ledge to jump, you won't, because you're not allowed to jump in any way, shape, or form. That's why we are able to hover with it, because you can't fall if you take damage. If you take damage, it considers you to be in a hovering state. I don't know why. You can't recoil for whatever reason.
So we'll
Now-
probably explain hovering when it
Oh, it'll
Right.
definitely come up. Yeah, no doubt about that. And alternate exits and fairy fountains and cool stuff like that. Grottos. So, English, you keep your speed upon getting pushed to a ledge. Japanese, you lose your speed upon it, so that's why it's English only. Anyways,
So all 3 runners are getting the 200 rupees, the silver rupee chest, which has 200 rupees in it.
it's
And-
very convenient.
Yeah.
It resets every cycle, so every time you do something time, the chest is restocked. And you can reuse that same rupee for the same purpose of buying more explosives, depending on your route. So, we might see a difference in strats here. They're about to go for the owl that's considered a hidden owl. Now, you'll see it coming up. It's basically, if you have the owl in South Clocktown, if you were to go to East Clocktown and look over the stairs that you have to cross over to get to East Clocktown, you'll see an owl. Now, the intent is that it looks like the same owl, but you can't reach it because the loading zone encompasses the entirety of the stairs. So in order to reach that hidden owl, to basically allow for index warp, and how that works, you need to bypass it. So you're going to see Celestial here. It looks like they're all going to hover in this way. You hover up the wall, you side hop, you jump slash when you get past it. That's how you get past it in a simple manner.
So hidden owl is a trick that pretty much there's like there's an owl on the other. It's usually like it's intended just look like a texture, and it's actually like a thing in the game. Oh,
What?
Wait,
What's that?
Turkenheimer avoided out.
Yeah, that's intentional.
Oh,
That's how you get back to the bomb shop real quick.
okay.
Yeah. So, you know, you got this. I believe in you.
Okay. So when you do it, it like allows you to I can't explain.
Okay, should I?
Yeah.
Alright, so the reason Hidden Owl is so powerful is you don't have to hit any other owls, and in doing so, you can still warp to the owls. So in essence, you can warp to places without ever going to those places before. Unlike normally, you would have to trigger the owl first. You would have to slash it with your sword before you can ever think about warping to it. Now, it's a little complex in how it works. First off, I'm going to mention that a lot of these runners are going to have different routes. So Celestial is doing what we call Swamp Gossips. He's going from here all the way to Woodfall, Deku Palace, by doing a grotto alternate exit. Now, all grottos, more or less, are on the same map. Their exits and their collision are all also loaded. It's just whether or not they're graphically loaded. He's going to hover out of bounds, and he's going to go out and about to where the invisible, but still there, exit for a Woodfall grotto is. Or a Deku Palace grotto, I'm sorry. And Japanese has a lot of extra grottos in Deku Palace.
So to explain what hovering is, basically it starts with the infinite sword glitch. So there's pretty much a state where like when you're crouch dabbing, midway through you get like all the way. Okay, one second. So when you're crouch dabbing, there's like one frame where you retain the like animation of like slashing, and then so basically there's 3 frames where it's like infinitely swinging, and if you cancel during that state, like you get stuck with the infinite swing. So this can have its own advantages and benefits. But one really broken benefit is that when you shield damage in a particular way, Link sticks in the air and he hovers.
If you're close enough to the ground, you'll snap back down, but if you do another hover before that happens, you're in the clear. You can hover as long as you want until either you take damage while you're not shielding, or you backflip down without taking damage while shielding. Any number of ways to cancel a hover. Slash will cancel the hover because it'll cancel ISG. Truly is making me a little nervous. He's going heavy on the bomb count and explosive count for this one, but it looks like he'll make it.
We're seeing. So one thing to notice, you might see how Turkenheimer is like changing his like angle when he's hissing, and he's just doing it like no pause or anything, and everyone else is pausing while they do it. So the reason that they're doing that is because on the GameCube and Virtual Console versions, they basically messed up the ESS position. They didn't mess it up, they just blew it up. So on N64, it's like really easy to do, but on VC, it's just hard.
Not impossible, very difficult. Anop can do it as far as I know. I've tried. It takes a lot of practice. It's a very, very small space on it when you're using Wii VC because they changed up the mapping of the control stick.
One thing is that there's dead zone, like there's inconsistencies on VC, so certain values get skipped over. So if you, in theory, hit one of those values, then just it like according to the game, your input just dies, and then you mess it up.
I think it just generally skips over it. Are you talking about the dead zone? If you if you release or if you let the control stick go to neutral too far, then yeah, it'll kill it. So here we got our skip. It's if you're watching Turkin, he had to do a different route because he skipped out on Swamp Gossips. We call this big octave skip. So basically he did what we call a long jump to get up out of bounds. When he did that, now he's getting slung with soaring. When he did that, basically he was next to a ledge, he took damage, while human specifically, and what that did is when he was launched forward because the bomb is going to give you a little recoil as you take damage, it's a high speed, so if you transfer it by jumping into the air, you'll be able to go much further than usual, so we call that a long jump. It's considered a glitch at this point, so you're not allowed to do it in glitchless runs. Doing it there, you can then mash Deku Mask to put it on, and what that does is whenever you void as Deku, it uses your last respawn position, and that respawn position is based upon the last time you were on solid ground, like something that isn't a lily pad. And that little rock, that big rock, it counts. So he spams the Deku Mask, he lets the big octave suck him, it spits him out, and he intentionally voids without going onto one of the other parts of collision, whether it's the flower or the log. And that after voiding, it takes him right back up to the rock, and you actually have iframes as Deku when that happens. So you're able to go right past the big octo to the next one spits you out in the direction you want to go in. They're asking where you are, Santa. RHFXZ.
Yo, what's up, Ollie?
I see. You have a big fan, I see. I had no idea.
He probably is my biggest fan.
I'm happy for you. So, where do we leave off? Index warp. Sorry, it's a lot of information. Usually when we have a tutorial for this, or a similar route for this category, way back in the day, the entire category description for noobs, basically, spanned like 7 hours. This is FRS's tutorial, that's the one I used. We're trying to cram that into the span of one run. So, index warp. Back to the hidden owl thing. Why that's so powerful, why you're able to go to owls that you haven't warped to, is two reasons. One, the hidden owl is not set So when you play Song of Soaring, it opens up, and the Song of Soaring map, basically, and on that map you have the options of where you're able to go. That map will only come up if you have at least one owl statue. If you don't have any owl statues, it says you don't have any owl statues on the map or something, or you don't have any owls that you hit. You need to hit an owl first in order to use this function. By getting at hit an owl that isn't used normally, you bypass that. It thinks that you have one. Now, the second function that we use in order to really use it is that same screen. Its values are tied to the map screen on the pause. So if you look at Celestial, he's about to go to Crepe Bay, even though he's never gone there. That's because it's tied to that same map value, the map points. So he's about to go to Crepe Bay. The reason that we go to Crepe Bay without even looking at the map screen is because that's considered the default value. It's the first one on both of them if you don't have any owls that are considered normal, and the hidden owl is not considered normal by any means. If you were to go elsewhere, you would have to put the cursor on the corresponding map point. Like, for example, if you put the cursor onto Southern Swamp, like he's going to do in a little bit, on the map screen specifically, and then you play Song of Soaring, it's going to take you to Mountain Village, I believe it is. Yeah, Mountain Village. Now, that happened earlier. I completely missed it. Another one's going to come up. The reason we go to Mountain Village is to get the map point for the Goron Shrine. The Goron Shrine corresponds to Stone Tower Owl. So that means that we can skip the entirety of the Stone Tower climb, aside from the part that leads from the owl to the entrance to the dungeon. Then you can do the dungeon itself, completely skipping Ikana in this process.
So Celestial's duplicating bottles. Basically what happens is when so the way a bottle works is that it basically dupes over itself. So when you, for example, what he's doing is like, for example, can I just say that Ja Crispy and RHFXZ, neither of those people have ever played a Zelda game. I'm just putting that out there.
This joke is beyond me. I apologize.
No,
I think I need to go into salvage mode. What were we just talking about?
Duping bottles. So
Duping bottles. So the way duping works is it goes into the core functions of how a bottle works. Like Santa said, it dupes over itself in a sense. What he means by that is when you drop a bottle content, it therefore writes an empty bottle to that corresponding bottle slot. Vice versa, if you were to pick something up, it therefore writes that bottle content, whether it's bugs or fish, over the empty bottle that is in the inventory. That's how bottles work. You can take care of this. You can take this function and apply it to Deku Nuts, sticks, bombs, anything that has an item that has a value that, you know, you can make 0 and then you can't use it. That's how the bottle duping in Majora's Mask works. Ocarina of Time has plenty of other options. We're very limited when it comes to bottle duping. The other option, what is it? You could also use, again, items that you can't use in very specific situations. You can dupe over masks without that stipulation, except for transformation masks. You can dupe over transformation masks, but you have to be in a state where you can't put them on. For example, Zora Mask very specifically requires to be in a state where, alright, if you're human, and if you're in a spot that has a very low ceiling, you can't put the mask on because there's not enough height. The game actually checks for that. If you were to put it on, you would void, is essentially what the game is checking for. In that case, you can dupe over that Zora Mask, or Goron Mask, for example. Anyways, what do we talk about next? What can I ramble on about? Okay, Celestial just finally finished up his Zora cutscenes. He's about to go to... Is he about to go to Pirate's Fortress? Oh, he actually gets the grappling hook, Kappa, the hook shot. Okay, I was expecting him to do a hookshot skip. He's going a safer route. Let's see, what about the others? Alright, so Turk just did his dupes. He's about to get the Zora mask, and Truly is just now getting up the Zora mask. I see. Are you laughing at chat again?
I'm sorry. This guy, both of these people is coming in my chat and saying those are random things.
I'm going to have to say no, Jacques Crispy. This route does not include dong fighting. No.
You just said stuff
Unless
like that.
Santa can elaborate. Maybe there is that I'm not aware of in one of these routes. Where is this dong fighting? I'm curious.
It's in the
Alright, we
Clint-
have... I'm sorry.
I said it's in the Clint route, Kappa.
Is there a Clint route on Majora's Mask?
Oh, it's just the OOT Clint route had a bunch of just like weird stuff in it.
Yeah. Alright. RH says that he has money on Celestial. I do not blame him.
So Celestial's gonna be hovering up to this ledge.
You got the pirates here. You gotta be careful you don't get caught. Typically, you're that high up, they will not catch you. But if you were to fail Omega, and you backflipped and you didn't save it, you'd be pretty sad at that point. Even if you didn't get caught, you'd be wasting time. Coming up here, Celestial is going to be doing a series of very interesting pirate shenanigans. So, the way pirates work in this game, and Redeads for that matter, and maybe other enemies, is you have to be walking, or you have to be touching them in order for them to actually catch you, or attempt to turn to catch you, so to speak. Up here, we're going to walk right into the hookshot room, no consequences whatsoever, and we're going to get right up to the beehive from this room. You might have seen the pirate move very slightly. Didn't catch him, though. He's getting a setup here for what we call the hookshot room long jump. Very fancy name. That was a long jump there, just like earlier. And right now, he's high enough that he won't get caught by the pirates. Getting a beehive. He is now safe to do anything and everything he wants to do in this room. No catching whatsoever. Props. So, you can get the hookshot on the Japanese version without going up to that upper room that you can see in the top right. And it's gone. On English, however, they moved the guard up further. They actually caught that you can enter that room without getting caught immediately, which was the intent, I would assume, if they changed it. So, on English, if you were to get hookshot, you would actually have to use that upper room and then use bow or get past the cutscene with time stop is what it's called in order to skip the cutscene. And then usually, sometimes they'll use bubbles from a Deku or bow and arrow like usual to pop the beehive, basically. I blabbed enough. It's your turn.
Okay.
Alright. Good commentary.
I'm sorry. I
Am I missing chat? I usually do. Oh, sorry, Jack Crispin. Alright. Chat has put Santa out of commission. Not that he ever was. Let's see, Turkenheimer's about to get his hookshot. He should be using the same trick, even though he's on N64, I believe, that Celestial used to get the hookshot. And Nan is just now getting up to Pirate's Fortress. And he's about to do the same trick as well, but first he has to get past the pirates in the very first room. One thing that I did forget to mention is that in order to do this trick on Japanese, it does have to be nighttime. If it's daytime, you actually saw my Turkenheimer had to wait just a brief second. If he had gone in while it was daytime, the pirates actually have extended sight during the daytime, he would have gotten caught. So that trick, while it is JP only, it is also nighttime only. Celestial has entered our first dungeon. He is in Woodfall Temple. getting some extra bombs, and he's about to do a precise hook shot. We're gonna skip a huge portion just because we have hook shot. And if you didn't have hook shot, what you would do is do a hover and a mega flip. There you go. He's about to get the bow after he does the hook shot again. If you're familiar with the game, you might remember, you need 7 of the Zora eggs though. How are we gonna do this with only 2 bottles, one of them being duped? The reason we only get 1 bottle in this route is there is a trick called Equip Swap. Now, Equip Swap is what you do in runs like this in order to only have to collect 1 Zora egg. I believe that most of these are probably going to be getting lighter soon after getting a bow. It looks like Turk does. Turkenheimer Celestial has Stone Tower Temple coming up. And I'm going to assume that Truly does as well. So they're all going to be going to Stone Tower Temple after Woodfall Temple, I believe, depending on the route, of course. And the reason is we want to get light arrows in particular. Light arrows have their value. Once that value is used up, then they're expendable. They help with Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask doesn't avoid light arrow hits, but generally, if we can dupe over it, we will. The reason is, it isn't just the right spot in the equipment screen. It's on the top row, and typically we don't have a 6th bottle, or any trade items is what they're called. They're the ones like Priority Mail, Moon's Tear, what are they called? Mountain Title Deed, for example, your deeds. That is important. Whenever you hit left on a control stick from coming from the map screen and it's off to the right, you will first hit the bow. This is very important for Equip Swap. The idea is that you're going to take 1 cutscene, or 1 item value, and that would be the Zora egg. You're gonna hit R, that's gonna take you to the map screen. You're gonna hit L, and then you're gonna hit up left and an equip button at the same time. And if you do it with the right timing, you're gonna get a Zora egg equipped over the light arrow spot. You do this over and over again, so you have 7 eggs individually, then you drop them while you're in the area where you drop them in the Marine Lab. And that's how we skip collecting any other eggs. We completely skip Pinnacle Rock in this route. It's very great when it comes to speed. I'm sure, as you can imagine, having to do 2 trips or even 1 full trip to Pinnacle Rock and Pirate's Fortress completely cuts out a good 5-10 minutes, I don't know exactly, a huge chunk of time. Nibbler, say something.
So right now, Celestial's doing Woodfall BK skip.
He did it.
Let's go.
He had to do a ledge clip. Ledge clip is when you go. You can describe ledge clip. They're not gonna time. Go.
So basically, when you go off a ledge and you're not jumping, you're just like, when you grab the ledge, there's 1 frame where, like, on the first frame, if you target, then Link inverts, and then he inverts and then goes inside the wall, and then you can basically just go through it from there. And Celestial just beat Odawa.
That was fast. Alright, Turk's about to do what he did earlier, so we're going to go in a little more detail. So, he's not going to do the same thing, but very nearly. He's going to be using a flower to give him an extra boost, or try to give him an extra boost. There he goes. So you hover up, and if you untarget via a chew by targeting it frame perfectly, just about, let's say, you put on a Zora mask, it's going to keep that direction, which allows you to do what he just did and climb that ledge. That saves several explosives. If this is not English, you just have to tap the mask and it's all good. This is Japanese, there are differences. After he just did, that was a Zora clip. He just did that, now he's going to hover all the way to the boss room. Hovering, megas, etc, etc. It's a little complex. If you were to pop into the room in any way, shape, or form before the boss room, that is the the room with the dragonflies. You got water on the bottom. There's a ladder right in front of you that goes down into the room. That's the room we're trying to avoid. If we get in that room, we're stuck completely. We can't get out of that any way, shape, or form. It's rip run, might as well be. The only way to get out is to use Song of Soaring, and that's going to take you back to the very beginning of the dungeon. And it's also going to make you lose... wait, that's not an intro. I'm sorry. We'll get that later. It's about to go into Song of Time cutscene skip. Your turn.
Okay.
Turk's doing something cool. Turk got memed on. It's still getting memed on. There he goes. And he's on the flower. That's bad. Okay, you fixed it. So, whenever you shoot a Dalwa, there is a chance that you can jump to evade the arrow attack, and that, of course, is critical for what we call a stun lock in the community, and speedrunning in general. Without getting that stun lock for the arrow, well, the arrow hit, you can't stun him, and you can't start the stun lock, which completely makes hurting him impossible, till he decides to let you hit him, basically. That happened, and he finished his hits with the power crouch tab and jump slash damage. We would be using stick power crouch tab, jump slash damage, but Adawa is invincible to stick attacks, and which is unfortunate. Sticks are, of course, they deal twice the damage that Kokiri's sword does. You want to talk about PCS? We haven't done that yet.
Yeah, so power crouch stabbing basically means that... So what it is that the developers on OOT, all versions of OOT, and the Japanese version of MM, they never assigned a crouch stab value to they basically never assign a crouch stab value, so it takes up the last crouch stab or the last attack value that you did. So jump slashing isn't it's the most powerful attack, but it's not always the most convenient, and a ton way more than jump slash. Crouch stabbing is very convenient, and we can deal a ton of damage, and it can be combined with ISG to do a ton of damage easily.
Alright, we got Celestial. If you're looking at him, he's about to go to Stone Tower without having gone to Stone Tower. By doing that, he puts if you saw it earlier, he put the cursor on Mountain Village, which is in the very top right of the map screen before he played the song. And here he is. Very cool trick. We've known that since probably 2016, I want to say, somewhere around there. I wasn't around by then, I think. Oh, he's doing fairy. So he's about to do what we call time stop. Basically, he is going to target for a second, then he's going to hit... What is it? I think it's bottle first,
shield.
then
Oh,
shield.
yeah, so it's bottle and then shield.
I think you were right.
It tries so it basically tries to pull out the bottle, and then it puts you into the camera where you are dropping it, but then a frame later, if you shield it, then you'll cancel the dropping animation, and then what happens is that's the result.
Time is stopped, and a lot of actors are stuck in place, and that includes the blocks. So we can completely skip elegy, we can skip having to hover over that gap. It's very convenient. A lot of times runners nowadays will do that with bombs, so seeing that with the fairy is a rare treat nowadays. Here's a little clip. It's very fancy. Get the door, hold up left. Depending on how you approach the door, that's how you do it. We get to skip the entire elegy portion of Stone Tower this way. And after doing that, he gets a key that's of course pivotal to going through the next door, which is locked. How many of you are familiar with weird shots in chat? You want to talk about weird shots?
Yeah, so weird shots are basically when you put your hookshot camera under the ground, and so for reference, it's just the camera, not the actual model, or you're not. There's like no collision of Link. So you roll. It works differently in MM than O. I've realized
Oh yeah, the
now.
inputs are a little different. So
Is the
you
same?
roll-
Is like the entire concept the same, or like the how it works the same? Because I can explain that.
it's been a while. I think, do you have to bonk in Ocarina of Time? You don't have to bonk in Majora's Mask. It's been a
Well,
long time since I did it in OT.
It doesn't. The bonk setup is like easier, but you don't have to. So basically, it revolves around a glitch called the weird slide. So if you've ever like rolled into a bomb and held down with the right timing, then Link will go in this like weird sliding state, and on some frames he goes out of bounds, and then if you release. So since you're holding hookshot, and then if you release, so it'll buffer the hookshot input. So if you release shield on one of the frames where he's underground, I can't remember if it's the frame before or the
this is-
frame on.
You're describing this. That doesn't sound like a Majora's
So,
Mask
player.
weird shot. Sorry. Yeah, I think it's Ocarina of Time version. It's similar. You don't have to shield in Majora's Mask at all. Shielding is not in it at all, as far as I know. No weird shots work with the shield, I think. You're using iframes again. This is another difference, like Hessing, I think. Iframes are powerful in Majora's Mask, I guess. That's the takeaway.
Ooh, my MM knowledge is rusty. Omega Wall.
I'm glad you're here.
That's an SM64 thing to moonwalk into his cage.
You can moonwalk into the cage?
Someone in chat, I don't even know.
Which cage? Where you at, Crispy? We need your commentary for SM64 now. We're desperate. Alright, so Turkenheimer's coming up. You might have seen Celestial do it earlier. We were talking about various things. He's doing a little weird shot, just like earlier. These Nezrons can be fun. You can get ISG from them pretty easily if you crouch stab them. Not always, but sometimes. He's got 20 bombs. He's stacked and loaded for the rest of this.
So, was the thing that Celestial just did was a bow? Okay, yeah.
Oh, he did an extended bow, and that Turk's probably going to do it later. We'll describe, how about we go into Song of Time skips. So what he did there was what we call storing a Song of Time. In order to do that, you need to slash a ledge and then press Ocarina at the very specific time. That's going to let you Ocarina dive into the void. So if you play Ocarina of Time, Song of Time before you void, you will then store it. In order to bring up this stored song, you need some text. We're not going to get any text until during the fight, near the end, typically, of the boss. And what you can do is, now that you have that stored Song of Time text up, you kill the boss, the final one anyways, in this case for Twin Mode there too. Oh, he failed. He just failed, Celestial just failed a recoil flip, so now he has to go the whole way back to the beginning. He has to redo this entire room. He'll get back very shortly, hopefully, once he, okay, he went with the safer route of melting the sunblock.
Excellent.
Song of Time storage. Once he gets to the boss, you're going to see it come up while he's moving around. It's kind of funny to see walking with text. Well, in a game like Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, you don't usually see it. It happens, but not very often.
Yeah, I always think it's like really cool when that happens.
It can normally happen when the hot spring water, if you have any bottled, when it cools down. Otherwise, it's very rare and usually considered a glitch, I think. So, the reason Song of Time cutscene skips work and why they're important is when a lot of times when you get an item that has a cutscene going on, you get that item on the very first frame, anything happens. And that is true very specifically of the remains of the bosses. Twin Mode's remains coming up. After he gets that Song of Time text during the boss, he's going to actually hit yes once he starts picking up the boss remains. And then he's going to reset right after, completely skipping the Giants cutscene. The reason we wait until, or we do this before the boss is dead, is you can't do it after. You're not allowed to play Song of Time in any way, shape, or form or bring up stored Song of Time text during the boss fight. Otherwise, it's going to say something along the lines of, your notes echoed far, but nothing can happen. That's why we gotta bring it up during the boss fight, not after. You bring it up after, it's considered a fail. And you gotta watch the cutscene. It's very sad. Your run's typically dead at that point. Ah! If you go up to Turkenheimer, you're gonna see he's doing a completely different method compared to the other two boss key skips, which is basically you fit between the door and the door and the wall. It's a very simple setup. Three slashes against the wall, shield turn left, and then do a recoil. That is when you shield damage while on the air, usually a bomb or some other thing, and then it gives you a bunch of speed that you can maintain while you're in the air. Go on. What were you gonna say?
Well, never mind.
Okay. Well, we have a couple things going on. Truly is doing another weird shot right there. Same area as before as the other two. Turkenheimer is doing what we call a left side BK skip for Stone Tower Temple. He just stored Song of Time in what we consider the optimal spot to do it in. I don't know what he's doing now. I guess he's getting bombs, maybe. And now he's going to do a bit of an advanced hover. Oh, they do respawn. We're gonna see him get up into a fun spot. He just tried to jump slash to it. He failed it first time. It's a little finicky every once in a while to get into that spot. He'll make it eventually. He has all the tries in the world. Now that he makes it up, he's gonna do some very specific hovers with the ISG method, of course. And he's going to do a very roundabout long way of getting into the boss loading zone. If you look over at Celestial, you'll see that he's just finishing up Twin Mold. He just destroyed, I think it was it red or blue? I didn't notice. There's that stored Song of Time that I mentioned earlier. It is now brought up, it's not stored anymore. Twin Mold kissed him. I must have missed it. Oh, is that what that's called? I didn't realize there was a name for that. Twin Mold kissed him just now. That's always very disheartening, because you can't attack at that point. You might notice, obviously, we're using arrows in this part. We don't use Giant's Mask. Giant's Mask is generally considered slower. Maybe safer, though. Twin Mold has his own derpy little hitbox, as most enemies in this game do. But you get it down, you get in his tail, the fight's over in less than 2 minutes, I think. Typically, maybe less than a minute. I don't know the time, I'm sorry. So, he's got that Song of Time up. He's about to walk into the boss. He remains, and as soon as he starts turning around, he's going to hit yes and reset the timer. Important to note, if you go pick up the heart container first by accident, you're going to overwrite the sword song. New text is going to replace it, and you're going to completely lose your stored Song of Time. Whenever that happens, if it happens whether you're standing on them, the heart container just so happens when it spawns, very sad. So when you're doing that, you want to stand in a corner. You can't skip the cutscene, of course, if that happens. Alright, Celestial is now beginning Cycle 3 is what it's considered. I believe he's going to do the notorious lullaby skip. We're going to see his method, how he does it. Looks like Turkenheimer has to retry the hover for the Stone Tower BK skip. It's a little tricky when doing this method. It's just unfortunate. Pause buffering on N64 can be very Dan's game, from what I hear. I haven't done it too often.
Yeah, it's just because, like, it's, like, slow.
I just missed it. If you notice TrulyNaN, you can see a spot there. Extended bow is what happens when you're next to a wall and you're aiming. You press with the light arrows in this case. You hold forward, you press A, and a frame later you bring the bow back out with the bow button. This puts you a little bit further, in this case, in the wall itself. So you can actually shoot the light arrow target, the crystal that flips the tower, through the wall. So you don't have to move the LGs. You don't have to move the LG blocks at all. You just shoot it right from that side. You don't even have to weird shot, which is what we used to do before we realized, oh hey, you can use extended bow there. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
What? I was gonna say anything.
Oh, sorry. Alright, looks like Truly finally made it to Inverted Stone Tower Temple. Turk's heading up Twin Mold's boss. Celestial is doing those equip swaps that I mentioned earlier, using that 1 Zora egg to make 7 Zora eggs. It's a miracle. How you doing, FaZe? Animal cloning. We shouldn't talk about that on Twitch, I guess. Alright, there's one of those recoil flips that I talked about earlier. This is a very specific one, so he's making sure not to fail it, like Celestial did earlier. It's very Monka, or what's the term? Very sad to fail it. Big W to fail it. Alright, Celestial should be getting close to the 7th one. Of course, for the 7th one, you don't have to use a dupe one, you can just empty out the real one. Looks like he's got 1 more or 2 more. Is this even legal? Well, hopefully it is. In a land of Termina, probably not. They're probably not concerned about cloning, if I had to guess. What do you think? Santa?
Yeah.
Do you think they're concerned about cloning in Termina?
I don't support it, but I guess that's
What?
nature.
You're not concerned about it in speedruns? You don't support it? Ah. We need a new commentator, guys. This guy is not on board with the whole speedrunning.
Bad opinions on the wall. I gotta tell this kid to like be quiet. You're...
Perhaps you would be more interested in all dungeons restricted next time. They are not allowed to do equip swapping. They are also not allowed to do index warping in all dungeons restricted. And because of that, it is considered, well, more so the equip swapping part. It's considered a very beginner-esque category. If anybody is interested, hit up the Majora's Mask Speedrunning Discord. We'll be glad to put you through the ropes. That is Majora's Mask Speedrunning. I will warn you, it is not for the faint of heart, but it's certainly worth it. It's a lot of fun in the end. It's a lot of room for growing. We still have some tricks to find. Like I said, for Cycle Skip, we need a lot of help with that. We need a lot of inspiration and new tricks in general, so anything you got, let me know if it looks weird, basically. Specifically Deku related things. I know Glitchless is very interesting recently. A lot of people are... Oh! Celestial just did a cutscene skip, I believe. Basically, he pulled out the ocarina just as the cutscene for learning new way Bossa Nova was about to start, completely skipping it by Song of Soaring to Woodfall Temple, or Woodfall area. Again, New Way Bossa Nova is one of those items that you collect at the very beginning of the cutscene. Very cool. And if you look at Turk, he is doing that gainer to the ECT chest, East Clocktown chest. As Zora, very, very fast to do that. We do it in speedruns quite a bit. Oh yeah, so Hondo Glitchless. Nah, I can't talk about that yet. You want to talk about alternate exit for the fairy fountains?
I came back just in time. But yeah, so alternate exits are basically every fairy fountain is on the same map. So it's all one area.
It's very similar to grottos, like I explained earlier, except of course it's fairy fountains and the fairy fountain map instead of the grotto map. We can do essentially the same thing.
Yeah, he's hovering out and now he's gonna end up in an alternate exit.
In particular, Snowhead.
Snowhead.
You want to be the one to talk about lullaby skip?
No, thank you.
Okay. This is the dreaded lullaby skip. It's a very precarious situation. You get hit once by any of these snowballs, like the one he just blew up. You will fall and have to restart from the fairy fountain. This is what we call the zero-hit cycle, if you can get it. Now, it looks like he got caught in the snow. He didn't go for it. He's about to do a super slide. The goal is to get from this point to a point past the part of the wall fast enough before the wind blows again and puts you in front of the fairy fountain. Looks like he got just barely made it. If the wind had blown any earlier, he would have been stuck on that wall. He might have gotten blown into the fairy fountain itself. Nobody really likes this trick, and this trick doesn't really like anybody. Basically one of those. So now he has to avoid all these snowballs. Again, if even one of them hits him, if one drops down on his head, if he's blown into one, this attempt is over. He has to restart from the fairy fountain. Now, he did blow one up earlier, and if he didn't, we would be seeing another snowball right over here in this area. And usually this is the trickiest one to get by. That's why we sacrifice a bomb to destroy that particular snowball in speedruns. It's that annoying. But it's destroyed. It is no longer a bother. He's going to get right into the loading zone. And the lullaby skip is over. That was a decent lullaby skip. It looks like Turk is about to dupe over some chews in particular. The reason he can do that is if you have 3 bombs out, you are in that state where you can't use any more bombs. The game only allows 3 bombs, or 3 explosives to be out at any time. You reach that limit, then you can dupe over them because again, you can't use them. You get that noise that means you can't use an item in that situation. Did I miss something? Run over?
Oh, no.
Oh, did Truly mess up lullaby skip maybe? Thanks, Face. Lol. Okay. I didn't notice if Celestial went for action swap, so I don't have to talk about it, I guess. Yay. Instead, he's gonna do a weird shot. There's a fairy fountain chest right up and to the right. We use that fairy chest to completely skip any other way that we would otherwise have to use to get up, whether it's hovering, or a roundabout way, or the casual intended way. Glitchless does a roundabout way. It's very fast. It skips keys. All but one, I think. Or all but 2? All but 2. These are some more long jumps to get across the bridges. We don't have Goron masks, so we gotta find some other means to get around. Coming up, we have Whiz Robe for the fire arrows. It's a very specific and structured fight. You want to get Deku Stick jump slash damage. Then you just damage. I'm sorry.
Oh, you said. Oh, never mind. You keep going.
Okay. He just damaged him with a hook shot. Then he gets ISG with the with the stored jump slash damage from the Deku Stick, and then he just walks right up the Whiz Road. He goes into the same spot every time, and the reason he does that is he's trying to initiate phase 2. However, we skip that phase and its accompanying cutscene by damaging him on the frame that he is vulnerable for, therefore skipping it entirely. We have a raid, Coltrax, raiding with the party as well.
Thanks for the raid.
Instead of lullaby skip down the room, so correct yourself. Sorry, it's one of those things that I guess the run would be over if it was an actual speedrun. The time you wouldn't be able to PB with it typically. That's what I meant. Sorry, Lure. Yeah, it was slip of the tongue, I guess. If you were me, you might be able to PB still because my PB is meh.
Undisclosed.
It's not sub 130, unlike Celestials. Oh, I said I wouldn't say who it was. Too late. It may have been obvious. If
To be fair, SRC exists. But
I'm sorry.
I said to be fair, SRC exists, but yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Alright, he's about to go out of bounds and do another hover. This is to, again, Store Song of Time. We're going to be skipping the Goats Giants cutscene and area cleared for Northern Mountains cutscenes, just like we did for Ikana's clearing cutscene and the Twin Mold boss, or Twin Mold Giants cutscene. Giants cutscenes are a little weird though. You can't really say a specific area. If you watch them, if you complete the dungeons in any order, you will see the same Giants cutscene in the same order. So that's why any route we do, we always skip the Song of Time cutscene for the first one. Because whatever first one you watch will give you the Oath to Order. And in the lack of a moon warp and in the lack of a credits warp, Oath to Order is necessary to beat the game. Without it, we cannot reach the moon. It's very important we get it. Goat is a very fun boss if you watch Celestial. He is going to be using arrows. We don't have Goron. And even in routes that you get the Goron Mask, you don't use Goron Mask. It is an intended strat, and it is a very slow strat. We're going to be using the blind spots of Goat's vision to our advantage. And simply how the fight itself works. Looks like you'll be doing what we call the 159 strat. Ah!
So Turkenheimer is doing the Fairy Fountain ultimate exit.
Looks like you got it. Unfortunately, it looks like Celestial got hit with lightning, and the way the fight works, if you get hit with lightning, Goat's gonna start running the other way. However, it looks like he's gonna reset the stun lock itself, or whatever you want to call it. It's not really a stun lock. There's no stunning involved when it comes to Goat, unless you hit him with Goron spikes while you're in the air. That's the only way to stun him, as far as I know. As long as he doesn't lose track, as long as he hits him 15 times with the arrows, and specifically, he wants to bring up the Stored Song of Time before that 15th arrow hit. He did that. Good job. And furthermore, he wants Goat to be running towards him. So the reason we side hop out, side hop back is to prevent him from running the opposite direction. That's just how the fight is structured. If you wait long enough, he was going to start running the other way. I'm sorry, he's going to start running towards you. So we specifically do that. We skip the side hops on that one. He's on a timer before he starts running. This is the sloppiest explanation ever.
Okay, so Turkenheimer got the Fairy Ultimate exit second try. And now Nan is about to attempt it.
If he were to damage Goat while he was still in that waiting phase, then Goat would be running in the opposite direction and he would have to backwalk the entire way to wherever he lands. Fortunately, if you do it just right, he ends his death animation, his death cutscene right next to you. Okay, wow, Turkenheimer is going for the Hess, but he dropped it, or something. I'm not familiar with the Hess method.
So, Celestial just warped to Crepe Bay, and now he's gonna go beat Crepe Bay Temple.
Celestial is in the second to last cycle. Again, every Giants cutscene after the first one, we want to skip with a Song of Time. And every cycle, I forgot to mention, is when you Song of Time and you reset everything with Song of Time. That is considered one cycle. First cycle, of course, is the one that we want to skip, but we can't. And this is the second to final.
So, you can keep going.
Nah, it's fine. Crepe Bay Temple is pretty short. And is that where you're going to go into? Yeah, tell us why it's so short.
Because they do a boss key skip at the beginning, and then as well as the turtle cutscene skip. But what I was gonna talk about was he did like an interesting like ESS there. So he maintained the speed from the Zora dive, and then I'm sorry, Celestial. So Celestial like was able to maintain the speed with ESS out of the thing. So yeah, as FaZe said, he did miss it. Interesting piece of history. There was a player named Ingex24 and he held the record a few times. He held a few N64 records, just like for N64 games in general. But he did a few interesting things, such as, you know, he was American and he played OOT on the PAL version, and he ran on N64, which turned out to be like secretly because ESS was easier around Hessing was found. But one thing he did was for turtle cutscene skip, he since N64 lags a ton, he'd drop a bunch of bombs and spam Ocarina, and that would create so much lag that he would just like make it like a lot easier.
I wonder where you learned that from.
He was also the person who found 2-bomb super slides, or in OOT. So
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that.
it was he used them in because basically because of PAL rolling, like the way rolling works is that rolls were shortened because PAL runs at a different frame rate. So pretty much he made 2-bomb super slides to make them consistent, and like everyone made fun of him. And then like eventually everyone was like, oh, they're like free. But yeah, so he's about to he's entering Crepe Bay right now, and Celestial's gonna do a boss key skip right here. So okay, utilizing a ledge clip, and he's gonna be damage boost. So he got the ledge clip, and then that bomb's significant, right? Okay,
yes.
So he's gonna score Song of Time for the.
I don't think. Is it a ledge clip? I don't know what it's technically called, because I think the bomb pushes you through. It's not like you target and then that's what gets you through. In fact, the one he does, you don't hit target at all. You just hold right slightly to walk, and then you hold A. I don't know what its technical term is or what it technically could. Honestly.
So, lining up, and now he's gonna do a recoil flip. And now we just hit the loading zone. So now he's gonna do a weird shot, and he's gonna hit Georg's like hitbox.
Extended bow, but yes.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be a weird shot.
Depends
But he's
on
gonna hit before the fight starts, and he has a quick kill.
Yeah, doing this, if you damage him, it puts him in a stun state, and this allows us to skip the cutscene that would otherwise play if you were to come down without it. Now,
It's
this is Japanese, so the quick kill is a little difficult to do. On English, you are able to do the magic barrier attack, that one, at any point in time while you're swimming, doesn't matter what your speed is. On Japanese, you have to be going full speed for it to work. So unfortunately, it's just difficult to do, and he did not get up onto the platform during that little stun lock, is what we call. So he's now on the bottom. This is a precarious situation. He just got eaten. But it's okay. You only lose 2 hearts from this, so no need to panic, unless you're me, and I'm not at the helm. So again, no need to panic.
I was looking at Turkenheimer's.
Oh.
He failed the recoil flip, and then he fell and fell. Alright. It's
The recoil?
back. But
What?
yeah.
Oh, you mean the long jump? The long jump he failed. Yeah, that's always annoying. It's easy to fail if you're if you go too far and you're dropping down on a ledge. You're not usually gonna get back up on time before the bomb blows up.
Yeah.
Truly is storing Song of Time at a different location that Celestial did earlier. This is, I think, what the world record does. It's a little finickier though, but she can get it. It's awfully nice. You have to be very careful. Ooh. You have to be very careful not to land in an out of bounds area, or not an in a different room, basically. Again, the collision will be loaded, not graphic. It's not going to be graphically loaded, and if that happens, you can't void it all. You're going to have to play a Song of Soaring to get out. It's much the same as if you were to fail the BK skip for Woodfall Temple by going into the room before the boss. Alright, he did it. He made it. So now he's going to be... Oh, I thought he was going for a different route. That would have been interesting. Alright, it looks like Celestial has finally finished off Georg. He's going to be collecting some bombs, and after he gets some bombs, he's going to be making his way into the clock tower. Now, the reason bombs are important, of course, whenever you get bombs in Majora's Mask, you're typically, not always, but typically going to be doing some kind of hovering with ISG. In this case, you're going to be going right into the load zone for the clock tower. And doesn't matter what the day is or time, as long as you make it to the load zone or the clock tower, it's going to initiate the cutscene for the final stage of the game, where you call the giants, you play out the order, and you warp to the moon. Celestial is almost done, yes. The other two are about 2 dungeons, well, 1.5 dungeons behind both of them. A little less for Truly, but I don't know if. Oh yeah, he did store it. That's right. Never mind. Celestial's getting wrecked. Unfortunately, this is third try for bombs. I think. Sometimes the game is just a little cruel. It feels like.
Yeah. Bomb drops are always not fun to deal with.
Especially in runs where you do not collect hearts. And the reason for that is if you were to have 6 or 7 hearts, I don't remember what the exact number is, then, and you also have full hearts, then the game does a check when it does the flex drop. If you're to get the flex drop, basically what it boils down to, you have a higher chance to get bombs if you have 6 or 7 hearts.
Valiant, he's on 1.1 wide, people said. Also, what's up, Val?
Is he? Yeah, usually. Yeah, I don't think Turk has a 1.0 cartridge. Unless he got one recently.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's,
it's let's say 1.1. Alright, there he is. He made it into the load zone. He's on the clock tower. He has about a 5-minute cutscene before the fight itself starts. You could consider this the dungeon of the moon, as far as all dungeons is concerned, any percent. This is where the majority of the dungeon is cutscenes. A lot of times runners will use this time to do some kind of meme. Depends on the runner what the meme is. Turk's about to do the Snowhead Temple boss key. Yep, it's a very simple one. You do a recoil flip into the corner, then you're on a little bit of a floor, I think it is. I don't remember where the floor is, but then you jump from that floor to the load zone.
I'm gonna BRB for like 2 minutes.
Okie doke, you're gonna leave it with me? I have to talk about this stuff when Celestial's on the moon? I'm running out of things to talk about, Monka S. Yeah, Celestial gets to do Moonslide is what he just said. That means that he only used up 4 of his 5 bombs. If you only use 4 of your 5 bombs, you have an extra bomb. What are you going to use it for? Bombs on Majora in this kind of fight, when you have fire arrows or light arrows, Zora Mask, and Deku Stick, they're only so much... They're useful in one way in particular, but it's usually considered faster to use it for the Super Slide on the moon. That way you can go directly to the Majora kid, and he says about that one use is, he says, is a quick sun. He's referring to Incarnation. So I actually have something to talk about. Good. If anybody is familiar with Bavagia in Ocarina of Time, the Dragon of the Fire Temple boss, there is a secondary hitbox during the fight, and that hitbox is what I think glitchless runners and other runners probably use to damage Bavagia while she's flying, I think, or something. I'm not very familiar. In the context of Majora's Mask, in the Incarnation fight, that is the second phase, while he's doing that dancing thing and just running around the arena, you usually want to use arrows or hope that he runs into you while you're using Magic Shield right at the beginning of the fight. If that doesn't happen, or you could assume it doesn't happen, what you can do is pull a bomb out and drop it right into the center of the arena. Very important, because Majora Incarnation specifically has a secondary hitbox right in the middle of the arena, a little underneath the floor, I'm assuming. You drop a bomb there, you get a quick stun. A guaranteed stun. Battle is very soon, Sakenshian. Shaken Titan, my bad. Alright. TrulyNaN, I don't know if he's going to go for the what we call turtle cutscene skip. He might be the first to get it. He's pausing. He's going for it. Is he pulling Fairy? Hi, Chicken Titan. How you doing? Oh, he had it out for some. I'm sorry. The bottle was out previously before when he caught the Fairy. That's what it was. Probably for safety reasons. Gyro can be very Monka-esque if you're not careful. If you don't have the right angle while doing the stun lock, so to speak. I can talk a little more about that once Turken gets over there. Or Truly's a little closer there. We'll see. From Germany. Well, Turkenheimer is also from Germany. So you're like one of our runners in that case. You can see the U with the 2 dots on it and his username. I don't remember what that character is called, unfortunately. I usually just type out the UE. That's where I learned about it. This is the best cutscene. It means the best fight in the entire Zelda speedrunning franchise in general is about to come up. Isn't that right? That's why it's the best cutscene phase. Truly is going for the Pirates cutscene skip in addition to the Turtle cutscene skip. So, Celestial decided to skip it earlier. It might have been related to bomb count. Basically, what he's trying to do now is get bomb time stop. You can hookshot the tree in the far left in a very specific manner so as to avoid the load zone for Crepe Bay Temple while you're in it. I don't know quite what he's doing right now. Did he, Normally, what you would do is... Okay, he's given up on it. So what you would do is you would get time stop. It's similar to the cutscene item, except it's with a bomb. Basically, you shield and pull the cutscene item out sometime after the bomb explodes, I'll say. Time stop ensues. You walk into the... Oh, Celestial got his moon side. You walk into the load zone for Crepe Bay Temple. And then, because you're in time stop, it prevents the cutscene for the turtle to start moving from actually playing. So the load zone is therefore delayed. You use that delay to walk into the load zone for Zora Hall. And once you do that, Zora Hall actually initiates because it's an actual load zone. It's not cutscene related. And doing that, we'll skip it. There's a couple more steps, but I'm skipping them. No references. And then you come back out, and then you hookshot the turtle normally. You don't have to watch that pirate cutscene fight in any way, shape, or form. Celestial is coming up to the mask. Mask phase, phase 1, is about to begin. While Truly and Turkenheimer are starting Crepe Bay Temple. You gotta start the fight by stunning Majora. Unfortunately, Majora's Mask got away, but Mask gave Celestial a second chance, thankfully. Typically, runners will use either light arrows or fire arrows to damage phase 1 for 3 hits before doing a Zora jump slash on the final hit. These remains can be very pesky during the remainder of the fight. Some runners will opt to kill them, most will not because it takes quite some time to kill them all. Yes, the final boss that is not a pushover. I won't comment on Ganon. I'm not a Ganon or an Ocarina of Time runner, so I can't say much. However, Santa, I hear you're back. You can talk about Ganon.
Ganon isn't that bad. Ganondorf is pretty terrible. Play tennis. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And if you want to one cycle them in glitchless,
Yeah.
it's like 72 frame inputs.
It looks nuts whenever it gets pulled off. I gotta say,
Mhm.
it is really cool to see that. All right, so Celestial prayed and hoped that Incarnation would run into him while he was doing his aura barrier, and he did, and ended up getting a really fast Incarnation fight for no bombs. That was speedy, to say the least. Finally, Phase 3, Wrath, coming up. This guy's a little interesting. We don't have light arrows. They would be nice. He doesn't dodge light arrows, but fire arrows are okay for stunning him. We're gonna wait till he gets to an outside edge of the screen, wait for him to do an attack. That way he's gonna be stun locked. The stun lock is initiated, and then we're gonna be timing our crouch stabs with Deku jump slash damage for 10 hits. Timer ended. And on that final hit, we have one runner done. Celestial is in first place. GG. 132.04. Very good. Close enough, Kappa.
Let's just say it was RNG that prevented it, Kappa.
I'm sure it's true in one way or another with Majora's Mask. Where are the other runners at? Truly is about to begin the Gyurg fight. He skipped the cutscene, just like Celestial did earlier. And Turkenheimer is about to do the recoil. They're nearly neck and neck. So if Truly has an okay fight, Turkenheimer will have a chance to catch up, and Turkenheimer failed the recoil. He took damage instead, and now he has to restart the area. Unfortunate. Truly is bonking. That mediocre fight is starting to happen, and Gyurg is doing some very interesting things to the left.
By the way, both current runners are on PB pace.
They are. I think. Yeah, this is exciting. Alright, as long as
Pace.
holds it out, then he'll be doing fine. Let's see, 141 until enter.
As long as they're both not watching with the stress, Kappa.
As long as Turkenheimer gets this recoil and gets a good Gyurg fight, he should still be on PB pace. I agree.
Yeah, they're both multiple minutes ahead.
Alright, he got the recoil flip. The BK has been skipped on all three accounts. And he's about to do that.
Imagine getting boss keys in this category, Omega Wall.
Uh-oh. Oh, wait, did he get it? I don't have volume up. I don't know if he got it. Julie has successfully gotten the Sword Song of Time during the Gyurg fight. He is going to be able to skip Giant's cutscene. My biggest weakness in speedrunning all dungeons, I think, is forgetting a Sword Song of Time and forgetting to bring it up. So I'm usually a sad runner. Truly is just now starting final phase, or final cycle.
Chag, let's go.
Turken's Gyurg fight is going a little more smoothly than Truly's fight so far. So he's catching up quickly. I would say that the remainder of this race lies in Majora's Mask's RNG. Actually, I don't know what Truly's doing. Oh, I think Truly is completely skipping the RNG. He's going straight for the ECT chest. He's going directly to the bomb shop. He's not going to be playing around with any RNG. He knows what to expect.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You really just like can't take chances, especially when you're like on a who joined? Is that what's the name?
On a PB pace. Yeah, good game, Celestial. GG.
Yeah, GG.
Better than my actual monthly run.
Yo!
Do you wanna wait until we do everybody?
Yeah, I'll just mute and I'll just wait.
Okay, cool.
I don't know the customs of ZSR, sorry.
Yeah, they basically like have a runner's interview, and it's like all 3 racers.
Looking forward to that. I should have
Yeah.
taken notes. Darn it! If I had known that. Ah well. Okay. Truly has his bombs. He's making his way over. And it looks like Turkenheimer did not get the giant cutscene skip, unfortunately. So he's going to be suffering. I would wager that he can still PB, though. Quite easily. He just has to keep up the pace. Speech. Oh, man.
Just has to move to VC.
He said that, I think, this... He also said this for his last run, I think, but this will be his last N64 race, or attempt in general. He's going to be moving on to WVC. He's finally graduating. I'm so proud of him.
Moving up in life.
I'm sure he'll be much happier. If I would have to wager, if I had to guess. Okay, Julie has so many explosives. I have no idea what he's going to do with them all.
The dead zone Fig W.
Oh, that's true. Hessing in Majora's Mask, I would say, is not the most critical thing. Depending on your route. In this route, it isn't. But if you were on the... okay, I thought there might be a problem. If you were on if you did... There's a Zora Hess on a very, very advanced route. It could be pretty important, but nobody did it in this case. And again, that is a very advanced route. If you notice, Turkenheimer, the turtle, is still a rock. That is a side effect, shall we say, of skipping a turtle cutscene. It's a little neat thing. I think it is, anyways. It's been a while since I've seen it. Truly has a couple more minutes before he starts his Majora fight. We'll have to see. He's got so many explosives. I don't see how he could miss the moonslide. He's got at least 2 tries before it's not worth it. Turkenheimer is working his way into the clock tower. He's got the explosives for it, so why not? If he can get ISG. He got it. Alright. He's on his way. If I had to guess, he's probably around 2 to 3 minutes behind TrulyNaN. That is about the length of a fight of a Majora's Mask fight, near its entirety. So, again, Majora's Mask is a very RNG heavy fight. This could still be going either way. It's not over till it's over. Let's see. Do we have any memes, Turken? You're not Turken. Santa?
Celestial.
Santa. Celestial, you got any memes for us real quick? I'm desperate over here.
I'm sorry, I memed during Zora Mask cutscene, not during Giants cutscene.
Oh, okay.
I'm old school like that, sorry.
Yeah. You got your piano out? And up one of his customs back in the day. I don't think he does it anymore. But during the Zora Mask cutscene, he would play the piano, and he would play Song of Healing alongside the game. At least I recall him doing it a couple times. So that was always neat to see. I have no musical talent whatsoever, so I cannot play any songs. And it would also be that would be way too much audio anyways.
I made
Santa.
in 5th grade, I made a really bad, I don't even know what to call it. It was just some shitpost mashup. And then I just, in some very sketchy editing software, and then I just exported into an MP4 or an MP3 file, and then showed people, and I was like, look at this, what I made. Luckily I only showed 2 people, but it was god awful.
Keep going. I had to make an invite.
Alright. I was looking through my like YouTube videos, and I found this like I found a YouTube poop. Let's just leave it there.
All right, YouTube poops aside, where are we doing? All right, Truly is getting very close. You could say this is the final first cycle of the game.
Since it's Keko talking, I don't even know if I want to know what it is, Kappa.
Go on, Kiko. What is it? Let us know. Brace us. What am I trying to say? I have no idea what the term is I'm looking for. This is what you get when you get default commentators. One in particular, me.
I mean, that's a typical Keko stream. I'm not very surprised.
I haven't seen a Kiko stream in a while. I will not comment on that. Okay, guys. Let's give Truly all the good luck that he needs for a good fight. He's about to start. We gotta see if he gets Moonslide too. Here we go. Alright, that's one. That's two. And you got a ground jump that time. That's what happens if you roll into the bomb too early, we'll say. You pick it up.
It'd be kind of funny if like somebody like tried to hustle on the moon and just crashed.
That would be soul crushing. That wouldn't be funny. It might have happened before. Back in the final days of when this was considered any percent, I guess, is one way to think about it. Runners did what was instead considered a moon Hess, and that was with 2 chews is what you used. You didn't use bombs. I'm going to assume you didn't have any chews in the route by that point, or bombs in the route by that point. In that day, they used bomb crap is what it's called, or bomb storage, and chew storage, chew crap. Basically, you were able to take the number of chews, number of bombs you had from previous cycles into the next cycle, which completely goes against the idea of what separates Majora's Mask from Ocarina of Time. So, it's not a difficult trick. It goes into duping. It's one of the side effects of it, I would say. Okay, Truly is getting a good first mask so far. He was able to get him immediately. Unless that looks like the fin hit, I guess. I didn't notice. You don't want the fins to hit during the fight. It's always annoying. You always want to do a fire arrow hit. Fins don't deal too much damage.
Keko, to be fair, yeah, I guess it is 90%. I've always like wanted to like do like a hundo glitch run of like some game, and then just submit it as every single category, because it. Actually, yeah, Celestial.
Alright. Truly just finished up Mask phase. It's on to Incarnation. Let's pray and hope that Majora runs into him, just like Incarnation did for Celestial. Otherwise, he has the bombs. He could always... Nope, you got him. Don't have to worry about it. So there's his Deku Stick Jump Slash. Distort it. Barely made it. Had he taken any longer to hit Incarnation, I think he would have ran away. Especially because the stupid remains hit him. But it's all good. It's saved. And Wrath is right around the corner. Turkenheimer is just starting the fight. It's still anyone's game. Wrath can be troublesome at some points, but Turk is locked and loaded with his explosives, so... He also has a fairy. He's going for the safety strats. He's using it. Not a bad idea with 1 heart left in the race. Turk got the early stun. Yes, especially on PB base. He's going for the crouch stabs. As long as he gets the right rhythm, he's due for second place in the PB. Got it. Alright, second timer has ended. 1:46 on the dot. Sub 150.
I can't actually see. Yo, GG to NAN on the new PB.
GG, Nan. Good job. That leaves
Yeah,
Turk.
Oh, he skipped all of his splits, but it's like a 2-minute PB.
That's on him. PB is a PB. You can still submit it. I heard a ding. Hello.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Doing good. Yourself. Shush. You're not allowed to talk yet.
PB.
Alright. Turk's getting into Incarnation. Getting wrapped up here soon, folks. The first runner who Incarnation did not run into. Unfortunate. Time runners will spam arrows, just normal arrows, not magic arrows. Try to get him as soon as possible. Otherwise, they'll use explosives to stun him with that central hitbox. But it looks like he's not going for it. Uh-oh. I guess he doesn't have a Deku. Yeah, that's right. He failed the cutscene skip, so he didn't take the time to go for a Deku stick in this case. So he's gonna have to hit Wrath coming up here, and Incarnation twice as many times as both Celestial and Truly did. That is gonna be 20 times on Wrath, on Incarnation. I never keep track, honestly. Ooh. Not only is Turk going for fairy safety strats, he's equip swapping it just to make sure he has plenty of extra fairies. I don't know if he gets hit, if it's going to be automatically used. I probably would have used it just to make sure. The game is funny with equip swapped and duped fairies. Sometimes it just flat out won't give you the fairy use, even if you have it in a duped bottle, because the game isn't told to check your duped bottles. Obviously, why would they? When you die. The same is true when you're buying milk, for example, in new routes. You might be seeing milk swap or related tricks. You need to have an actual bottle, Okay, it worked. So it was on the C button. That's why it worked. So that's nice. You need to have an actual free bottle. You can't be a dupe bottle, otherwise you won't be able to buy milk if whatever bottle you have is occupied with something else. Say a Zora egg. It's very important for routing. Unfortunate, he got remains, which means that as soon as he started crouch stabbing, or any time during that stun lock phase, remains hit him just at the worst time, and he wasn't able to continue crouch stabbing. But now that he is out in the outside of the arena, he should be able to continue. Typically, the remains will not shoot you in this point. They're not specifically coded to do so. At least it seems that way.
Okay.
Third timer's ended. He did it.
Let's go.
All right. Everybody had a first try Majora's Mask fight. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
No, it's on the moon.
Everybody on sub 150.
GG. Sub 150 for all. Santa's being nice today. And there we go. Dawn of a new day.
How do you guys feel about how well you performed?
I'm really happy. I PB by almost 3 minutes.
Ooh. That's a healthy PB.
And I'm just happy I finished. I did not
Way to
expect
go.
anything.
Our very own meme runner, he did it. This is your second or third run, I think you said?
Yes,
Yeah, that's
this category.
sub 2 hours. Nicely done.
Yes, seriously, the problem was we only got 3 runners in the first month, and yeah, I basically just did a run to get something on the leaderboard, and then yeah.
I tried, but I was
ended
far
up-
too late.
Yeah.
You did it. You pulled through. I didn't PB until January 2021. It was my sign that 2020 was finally over. My first PB in a year and a half or so. In that category. What about you, Celestial?
I felt good. I didn't fail anything detrimental, so
Yeah.
I was happy with it.
All right. What else do you ask, Nibbler?
I guess just like follow all the runners and Druk. Don't follow me. Yeah.
Follow him, not me. I'm slow. All right, that was a good race, guys. Truly, Turkenheimer, you were both pretty close. That was really fun to see. And Celestial, you were great to just show off all the cool tricks, basically, and be that example. Until you went so fast, I couldn't keep up and had to use Turk and Truly as examples. That's about how it went.
You're welcome for being slow.
Thank you. Especially you, Turk. Couldn't have done it without you.
My final thoughts
I
are
believe so.
He's going.
everyone did well, and never let me on comms again.
We may consider that.
Too much hurt me, but yeah.
If you will notice, this is Turk's major contribution to speedrunning Majora's Mask in the later part of last year. This is the greatest trick that has accomplished nothing. If only it almost made a first cycle skip, but it didn't.
Glorious.
It is glorious.
So glorious.
You could talk about your wide link if you want to do that real quick. That was really cool.
No.
No.
Yeah, you can use Ace now, RTA, to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I just made Link a little bit wider.
Yeah, it was based off a time of day, right? So you could also make it
Yeah, in the morning or after midnight he was very thin. At noon he was normal, and at night he became wider and wider.
So, is that icon in the top left part of your screen? Is that from the from that stream, from that wide link stream?
Yeah.
It's cropped. It is from it.
But
okay.
I think you cannot see that on the restream, can you?
Actually, oh wait, this is our side.
Yeah, on our side we can.
Alright.
Also, what you're doing right now is interesting to say the least, Kappa.
Oh yes. Well, we got the credits ended on Celestial stream. Turk completely skipped the credits, and TrulyNaN is at the Deku Palace. I hope you enjoyed. This is one of our more interesting routes. Definitely harder. There's a lot of room to grow in this category, that's for darn sure. And then you also got plebs like me who use this beginner route, and Turk and Truly, and in this case Celestial for today.
I just didn't want the routes to be drastically different from each other.
Was everybody on JP?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep, everyone was on
Oh,
JP, and the only route difference that I really noticed was I think either Turk or Truly, one of you used the swamp route. I forgot to mention that. Didn't have time. There were a lot of tricks going on. Then two of you did swamp gossips.
Yeah, I think Turk did Swamp Route, and me and Truly both did Gossips.
Oh yeah,
On
sure on
N64, Swamp is horrible.
All right, we have a special request by Kiko. Who wants to do Defeat Majora?
Dude,
Come
if
on,
he
even-
and
Sure, yeah.
Majora alone is bad enough. You don't.
I don't think I remember how to moon warp.
I have no idea how it's done.
Yeah.
All
just-
right, Kiko.
longer than world record.
I'd look forward to it if you were willing to, but knowledge is power in that case. If you can't do it, you can't do it, I guess. Alright. That about wraps everything up, I suppose. If you guys have any questions about the race, things we didn't go into because Nibbler and I are way too slow when explaining things, or if you're interested in tricks, speedrunning, you want to start your own speedruns, hit us up in the Majora's Mask speedrunning server. Let me go get a link to that real quick so I can do some due diligence. What's the term? Shilling, I guess. Maybe
Who
not.
else
Really.
is your Discord?
Yeah. Yep. Alrighty, there it is. And then of course there's the ZSR stream. Link to the ZSR Discord. That's the organization who was able to bring the guys together, restream everything. Huge shout outs to them. They made this process so easy. I gotta say, we had to decide on a schedule, and they were able to go with it. Whatever we said, and Maybe, Turk, should we give a slight announcement for our weeklies, or should we hold off until we get something more concrete?
I mean, the weeklies are always the same. Next week we have glitchless races again, Tuesday and Saturday, and the following week it's all dungeons restricted again. So these two categories, it's always 1 week glitchless and the other week all dungeons restricted.
These are both what we would all consider to be beginner categories. They're easy to pick up. You're going to have some difficult tricks, especially for ADR, as standard for glitched categories. You're going to have to learn a little bit. Glitchless, you can technically go without these tricks, but they do help speed up the run entirely. And of course, knowing the route in very specific instances of the game that you're going to want to know. Otherwise, it can be very Dan's game. Just some cryptic parts with learning Goron, Lullaby, and Gara Mask in particular, and Epona Song. So, Zunar has a great route YouTube video description of everything. He's got a playlist for glitchless and all dungeons restricted. You got the Discord server. Any questions you want to know the route, both are there. So, I think that's about all we wanted to say, unless we wanted to talk about something in the works, but I think Turk didn't catch on that, so I think we're not going to announce that quite yet, until we get something more concrete. Alright, guys.
Yeah, I need to go to bed at 6:15 p.m. So I'll see you guys next time.
Alright, good night. Good night,
Oh
Santa.
boy.
Thank you all for commentating and for helping out. We're actually going to raid ZeldaSpeedRuns, who is doing a Skyward Sword Rando showcase. So, throw you guys over to there, and thank you to our commentators for helping out, and thank you for the runners. That was awesome. And as someone who doesn't know many Majora's Mask glitches, that was pretty cool. So yeah, I think that's it. Oh yeah, I loved it. It was awesome.
Will I be seeing you in the Discord?
I've been in the Discord, but I haven't talked, but I've been in the Discord for a while.
That's right.
Glitchless is awesome. Come and learn.
So I've heard. My girlfriend actually wants to learn Hundo Glitchless, so we'll see.
So
Hundo
cool.
Glitchless has been picking up a lot of interest recently. I don't know why. It's just all of a sudden we have like 3 or 4 people asking around for Hundo Glitchless routes. We want to run it. So, have fun. It should be fun. A lot of it's considered a get good category in the sense that you have a lot of stuff to do in a very short amount of time, basically, for what Hundo is going for. So I wish her luck.
Yeah, and I assume it's very optimized at this point too.
To an extent, it's not the most sought after speedrun when it comes to routing, but for what it is, yes, it's very tight at this point from what I hear. I can't say because I don't ever plan on doing it, but it has its fans, and I respect that.
Alrighty, well, thank you guys, and we're gonna kick the raid off, and we'll see you guys next time.
Alrighty, till then, bye-bye.
Later, people.
you